it's time to turn our attention to the world of streaming, cinemas, movie stars, and more as we bring you up to date with what's been happening in film and television.
Mother and I have been discussing your future.
I already told you I'm not interested in the family business. These are the steps I need to take to become the journalist of my dreams.
So how's that going so far?
All you do is sit around here and occupy space.
No matter what happens, we're in this together. What can I do to help?
The things in that folder ruined my life. There are very dangerous people involved.
You're saying that those people mod V, baby?
Yes.
I fear it's as we suspected, and you know what needs to happen.
I need your help.
Is that your final decision?
Yes.
Well, on Rise 360 today, we're being joined by part of the powerhouse cast and, of course, the creative mind behind the much-anticipated crime thriller Red Circle, talking about actress and media personality Folu Storms, award-winning actor Tobi Bakare, and visionary producer Nora Awolowo, as they take us behind the scenes of this gripping new film that's already sparking conversations, from, of course, intense performances to the bold storytelling that drives Red Circle. We'll dive into the making of a movie that's redefining cinema. And that's why I want to start. What about this movie, and you're all going to answer, for you, do you think makes it one that redefines Nigerian cinema? I'll start with you, Folu.
Well, thank you, first of all, for that really warm introduction. I was like, is it me? I believe that Red Circle is definitely going to be one for the culture, purely because of the approach to filmmaking that was taken by everybody involved. Mm-hmm. It's definitely our community project, as we like to call it. Everyone is very present, and really the layers that are kind of woven into the storytelling, so it makes it a very popcorn-worthy flick. Mm-hmm. It has, and I know people say this all the time, but it really does have all those elements. It's got the romance, it has drama, it has family dynamic issues, it's got proper thriller, it's got proper suspense. So you're never quite sure where the story is going to go until you get to the end. And the performances are stellar. Yeah. Like, I'm not being funny, I mean, I'm amazing.
Yeah, you are amazing.
But you have these guys, they knock it out of the park. There's no character and there's no part that is inconsequential that you think, oh no, that I didn't really enjoy that. Everyone's actually really brilliant in this project.
What about you, Tobi?
For me, it shows the power of the youth, shows what we can do. What brought me, or what was the most attractive factor of joining this project was the fact that it was a young team. Yeah. A young team like my peers, and it's more like, it's scary to do a film. Mm-hmm. And Nora had reached out like, okay, we want to do this thing, and then I'm asking who else is involved. 20-something, 30-something, everybody's like among the same age bracket, and it's like, okay, let's actually do this. Mm-hmm. And it was so exciting because it was a we're like minds, and then it's a beautiful collaborative process. And I was curious to see what will happen on set and afterwards. And every step along the way, I've been mind blown. And now it's your turn, the audience, to be mind blown.
I can't wait. What about you, Nora?
For me, I think it's the process behind making the film. For those of us behind the scene and even those in front of the camera, I think just the synergy on set that already made us vision what even the post-production was going to look like, and seeing that come out very fantastic, the way we wanted. Even the audience reaction to those that have watched the film has been very mind-blowing. So I think it is one that people would always reference. Even our marketing style has been quite catching, and it's something that everybody should see.
Yeah, I remember I did see that reaction video on your page. That's actually what made me reach out. I was like, please, I have to have you on the show. But I want to come back to you, Folu. I'm such a huge fan of your work. I really loved you on Crime and Justice. I feel like that was my own Law and Order. But even just in that trailer, towards the end, we're screaming your heart out, and we're seeing that back and forth between your character in distress and of course your character, all well dressed. Yeah. Your character obviously experiences a lot of emotional highs and lows. How did you prepare for such a psychologically demanding role? And were there parts of her journey that personally changed or transformed you?
Preparing for the role honestly goes the same way that preparing for any role would go. I do a lot of script work. I'm a little bit obsessive with it. People joke when they see Folu script on set, they're tabs. No, notes. I ask a lot of questions, but beyond the work that I do, the environment that you're in as a performer really goes a long way towards how you're going to perform at the end of the day. The production, making sure that all the elements that you need are in place, from the thought that's gone into wardrobe and costume, from the development in the story room before you are even given the script. All these things really help to feed into the world of the character. Yeah. So by the time we started rolling, every day I was living, eating, and breathing Fikayo Holloway. Every question I had, whether it was a director, aka, whether it was talking to Nora, whether it was with our scene partners. I remember Tobi and I even having discussions about, okay, so how do we think this should go? Everybody was just so invested. And really, as a performer, again, I really believe that for actors, the environment that you find yourself in lends itself dramatically to the work that you come out with. And as to parts of her story that perhaps transformed me, I think if anything, Fikayo Holloway is a very bold individual. Definitely bolder than I am. And doesn't this girl doesn't really think about consequence to action, which, you know.
Which you do.
I think a lot about all the consequences in the But I think there's something to be said for that. Because as we get older, generally as people, we tend to become more conservative. Yeah. We tend to shrink. But there is magic in youthfulness, and there's magic in not knowing what the end result of a thing is going to be. And that's something that I took from Fikayo's story. Is listen, and I even posted it today. I'm like, whatever Fikayo wants, she gets. Yeah. Let the heavens fall, scorch the earth. That's your business. This direction I want to go in, and sometimes that's the attitude you need.
Yeah. Kalu was right.
Get away from.
You're a little selfish.
Tobi, please answer your question.
I want to come to you. You've played several intense characters over the years. From Brotherhood to the movie with Jade Oshibera. I'm so sorry. I can't believe. How could I? Oh God, Gangs of Lagos, probably one of my best movies. When you think about the script, was there a particular moment that made you go, a line or a scene that made you go, this is the role that I've been waiting for?
The fact that I was going to play a police officer already got me excited. Because all the films, is that a thief or is it?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, still in the area, boy. And this one, I'm like, okay, Officer Kalu. I'm like, okay, I'm in charge. So yeah, they will know the parts of the character that is in the script that I don't like. When you watch it, you'll figure it out. But I was very interested and happy to see as an actor how well I'll be. It was a challenge for me, how well I'll be able to show, versatility in that regard. Okay, now you have to be a police officer, and then I had to shave my beard and all of that. And after preparing for it, I'm like, okay, I have this in my head, but let me see how it would play out. So, you get the shave, and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, okay, officer, Sean, sir. And we get on set, now working on the script with your scene partner. I actually felt like a good cop, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go to police training, who knows?
Nora.
You don't believe me?
Nora, maybe it's possible.
I will shock you.
All right, now let's talk about, even from how we met, your work, it really just shows off your cinematic style and so much emotional depth. Every shot is thoughtful. There's nothing that is a mistake. Can you walk us through your vision as the producer for Red Circle, visually, emotionally, thematically? How did you bring it to life? There's one particular picture, if they can pull it up, where you were, when I was going through the photography, I said, I want this picture of Nora because you were so into your work. Talk to me about that process.
That's actually quite interesting. I have a personal bias for this one because it's also my story idea.
There it is.
Also, the son, it was Nigeria son. That was killing me. I have a personal bias for this one. Once we had the story, I already had the references. Again, I tried to work with different departments because the look is not just me pointing cameras, also the element from the costume to the production design to even the lighting. So you know that, the lighting for this scene is different from this. There's also the character arc. When people see it, they'll see how wardrobe changes from when she's at home to when she gets into the zanga and everything, even for each character. I think that was very important to me. Also, even the person that was grading the film I was very intentional about colors. I had to draft out a color palette and say, when they are here, this is the color for this person, this is color for this character. And I think that also helped. That's how I tried to work. One thing we also did with the director was sit down, look at our references, discuss each scene, and broke it down one by one to every other person that was involved in our technical department, from the DIT to the editor. All of us sat down and said, okay, this is how we want this scene to go, with the gaffer, because the gaffer is in charge of light. So what that did for us is, once we got on set, everybody knew what they were doing without me pointing out. And luckily for us, we used at least maybe 90% of the locations that we recceed. So we did not have to change much. So even when our director was not feeling fine, we already broke it down so everybody understood. We could pick up for him and just make things easier.
How long did it take to film the entire movie?
About a month, I think, about a month, yeah.
All right, then,
because I did not want to stress.
Yeah. I want to come back to you, of course, Folu, as someone who wears multiple creative hats. From acting to hosting, how has your work in media influenced the way you approach character development and storytelling on screen? I want to know, is there any influence there? And a follow-up question to that, I also want Tobi to answer. That's question 1B. Is how do you decompress when you're done playing a character? Do you understand? So that you don't take Fikayo back home. And you don't, maybe when the police officer stops you, you're like, I'm your espiritu call. Don't forget that you're a civilian. How do you decompress? So let's start with you, Folu.
Thank you very much for that question. I look at all the aspects of my creative life as storytelling. The media just changes, right? Definitely my work in media, the reason I worked in media at all, and I continue to, is because I am passionate about stories. I feel that there is no such thing as a story that's too small. We're all humans having an experience, and that experience needs to be shared in different ways. So as an actor, it's just a different way for me to share that story with the general public, and a different way for me to emote it. And in some ways, it's a little bit freer, because we've spoken here a little bit about NBC and their rules and regulations in when you're presenting, when you're hosting. But when you are in film, your world expands in a very dramatic way, and you can really just kind of dive into it. So some of those emotions you feel sometimes when you're narrating a story of injustice or something horrible that happens in the news, that gets to you, and you can't express that. You just have to narrate the news. Whereas in my performance, I get to allow those emotions to come out. And in fact, it is required that I now learn how to remove the mask, which is actually a harder thing to do, because most of us in life, we walk around with masks. What is acceptable to present at certain times. But with performance, you have to strip back. And that's a very hard thing, to just suddenly be very vulnerable with 50 people in the room, shiny lights in your eye, perform, you know? And then I'll start the decompression and let you finish. It's similar again, I think, to when you have hard news days and you go back, you have to remember to switch off. There's just no way around it. You're that's a separate, you have to learn to compartmentalize. For me, after spending a month in Fikayo Holloway's shoes, I'm all right, I need to go on a holiday. I have...
To become soft again.
Listen, it's after Kelechi, for example, I was marching around for a while, but for me, I have things that I know that I enjoy intuitively. And I make that list, and I'm okay, what are all the things that you, as Folu, you love to do? Go back to those things, and it helps to ground again. So that's how I start the decompression.
All right, so if you can pick up from that.
Yeah, for me, decompressing is just literally walking in my house.
To see your family.
Yeah, because I mean, I love being a different character. I feel like I have multiple personalities. So film is the place where I can now own different personalities and actually enjoy. So I bask in it. But my reality is oftentimes so different from the characters I play. Because once I open the door, my wife is there to hug me, to welcome me. Yeah. That already just reminds me of who I am. Yeah. My kids are there, my young daughter is there, my son is there. It's playtime immediately. So already, you just naturally, it's a very quick switch for me. Yeah. So I feel like I'm blessed to really have that around.
Thank you so much for that. We're wrapping up now, but I want all three of you to answer this question. For people who are gonna go watch Red Circle tomorrow, like me, I'm going to wear my red dress tomorrow. What do you want people to walk away with from that movie? You could answer in one word, you could answer in one sentence, or in a paragraph if you want. So Nora, I will start with you.
Interesting.
I was going to talk make money for me, but that's support to make money, but let's let's leave that aside. It's at the end of everything. It's also like how deep. I mean, when you throw stones in the market, like, do you know it's going to touch like family or something? Also, how far can you go for ambition? I think that's very important. When you get out and just think what's family to you at the end of the day. Yes, who are your family at the end of the day? Who are those that you can ride or die for at the end of the day? Yeah.
What about you, Tobi?
For me, when it comes to movies or projects or creative stuff, I don't like to dictate what people should take away. Dictate. No, personally for me, what I dictate is go and be entertained. Yeah. I'm an entertainer. The core base of everything I'm trying to do is entertainment. Even if there's any message I'm trying to pass across is, edutainment. So for me now it's people have their own personal lives and whatnot. So they are going to draw or infer different things from the project and movie. But there's a lot to learn in it. There's a lot to enjoy in it. So for me, I'm coming from with the entertainment aspect. Go and enjoy yourself, and everything you learn, make sure you learn the good things inside the film.
Not the bad
Thank you. Yes, I go to the cinema and watch. We're out to cinemas now. Go and watch. Nora's money will not burn. Our efforts will not burn, and you're going to enjoy yourself. So.
All right, then we have 20 seconds left. If you could just quickly answer.
Allow yourself to be swept away. Red Circle will sweep you off your feet. Yes. Allow it to happen. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Yeah. Don't fight it.
It's okay.
Enjoy.
And tell us what you think. Tweet at us.
Yes.
Tweet at Nora.
All right, then if you're just tuning in, you've just missed an amazing interview, but you can still go check out Red Circle. It's coming out tomorrow in cinemas across Nigeria.